to the dollar. The cost of fuel shot up significantly after the deal. Where have things moved from bad to worse since the deal was signed? Well, the deal was a scam for which we now demand full disclosure and full accountability. It is corrupt and rotten to the core. It is state capture by Mr. Ruto and company and a conspiracy against the country. Ruto's collapsing the country while feeding Kenyans on lullabies. Other than keeping the cost of oil permanently high in Kenya, the deal is costing the country dearly in terms of trade in petroleum with the landlocked neighbors. It is shrouded in deep secrecy. To date, only 2 documents have been made public. That is, the Master Framework Agreement with petroleum trading entities and the Open Tender System Modified Agreement with marketers. The Supplier Purchase Agreement between the Middle East oil firms and the hand-picked distributors in Kenya has never been seen. We challenge Mr. Ruto to publish this document. Nobody knows how Gulf Energy, Galana Oil Kenya Limited, and Oryx Energies Kenya Limited got nominated to handle local logistics. But the hand-picked distributors are selling oil to us at almost twice the price from bulk suppliers. These companies are also manipulating deliveries date ranges so that they can minimize on prices. We know that in August this year, 4 months after the deal, the government allowed Oryx Energies to sell oil at prices that had been inflated by 17%. In the Ruto deal, Oryx is a supplier of diesel to other oil marketing companies in the country. The excuse was to delay in discharging fuel at the jetty. This shady business model is being deployed by all the companies that were retained in the Ruto deal. They buy at low prices, delay discharging, then ask to be allowed to offload at higher prices, and the cost is passed on to the consumers. In the case of Oryx, it had bought the diesel at an average Platts price of $97.88. That is 14,182 shillings per barrel in July, but was allowed to sell the same to oil marketing companies at $114.5 US, that is 16,585 shillings per barrel. Some of the companies charging the higher prices deliver more cargo than they were contracted to deliver, forcing Kenyans to buy more of the oil whose prices are inflated, hence the permanent high prices of petroleum products. The ministry is changing billing month to allow the oil firms to quote higher prices. For instance, cargo that was bought in July when the price was low is allowed to quote higher August prices and pass the burden to the consumer. The deal that Ruto hailed as phenomenal has resulted in high landed costs as a result of structuring of the contract. The faults include the double counting of some cost elements and fixed freighted premium, which sometimes are higher by up to $50 per metric ton. The cost is passed on to the consumers. It also lacks flexibility, which further exacerbates the pricing model. Uganda has announced that it will no longer purchase petroleum products from Kenya because middlemen have inflated prices by up to 59%, imposing too high a cost on consumers. The exact same scenario is prevailing here. The middlemen President Museveni is talking about are Kenya government officials. I repeat, the middlemen President Museveni is talking about are Kenya government officials. The deal has interrupted supply. Gulf Energy, which manages up to 50% of government importation, has been experiencing serious challenges securing letters of credit. This is because the single bank that was picked to provide the letter of credit is struggling with big bad loans. Consequently, there is delay for clearance of importers to offload oil. Ships are queuing at sea for up to 18 days, awaiting a confirmation of letter of credit in order to discharge, while the Kenya Pipeline Company goes without operations for days because there is nothing to process. Then the companies incur demurrage, which is transferred to the consumer. Under the open tender system, that's the old system, demurrage costs are $45,000 per day for the biggest tanker docking at the port of Mombasa, and $31,000 per day for the second biggest vessel. But under the Ruto deal, demurrage has risen up to $70,000 per day. This cost is passed on to the consumers at the pump. You will have noticed that Tanzania recently reduced the cost of petroleum products from 1st of November, while Kenya's remain the same or just marginally changed. Tanzania said it was reducing prices because of decrease in the world oil prices by an average of 5.68%, while premiums for importation of petroleum products had decreased by an average of 13% for super petrol, also known as premium motor gasoline or premium motor spirit, and 25% for automotive gas oil or diesel. We will not hear that story here because of the corrupt dealings written into the Ruto deal.